Thinking about earning some extra dough? Well, you're not alone. In fact, more than 44 million Americans are cashing in with a side hustle. That's according to a new survey from Bankrate.com. That's actually a cashlorette right now that we're showing you. But let me tell you about the rest of this. Bankrate.com survey says 28% of younger millennials ages 18 to 26 are the most likely age group to have a second job. And now the cashlorette, Sarah Berger, who writes about millennial money and careers for Bankrate.com, is here. Sarah, I love your name, cashlorette.
Thank you.
Break down these numbers for us. How often are people working their side hustle?
So we found that the majority of these people that have a side hustle are doing it at least once a month, and over half of millennials, or actually younger millennials, are doing it at least once a week. And we know that they're making pretty good money off their side hustles. A healthy percentage of these people are making at least $500 a month, which is pretty big.
That's pretty substantial.
Right.
Now, there is this stereotype, as you well know, that millennials are not hard workers, that they're privileged. For the record, I do not agree with that stereotype. We have many fine millennials who work here at CBSN. Let me ask you, though, was it surprising, though, that when you look at the folks who have these side hustles, that they were the group most likely to have a second gig?
It wasn't too surprising. I think that younger millennials are known as a generation that's kind of drowning in student loan debt.
Right.
So a lot of these younger millennials likely need that second income to pay down that debt faster. And we're also the generation that has grown up with social media and with our phones. So we have a firm grasp on how to use apps like Uber, Lyft, and TaskRabbit. We are comfortable with this type of technology, so we're comfortable with this, and I didn't find it too surprising.
You know, and I have to say that I've covered stories of millennials who've been faced with this really burdensome student debt, and people who've been trying to find jobs after the Great Recession. So there's a lot that the millennials have had to endure so far. Now, the survey did not ask for what specific side gigs people are taking. Do you know what's behind this trend of working a second job?
I think it's safe to assume that technology plays a role in this. Smartphones make it easier for people to apply to these jobs, for people to even find these jobs, and to set your own hours. Apps like Lyft and TaskRabbit give you tons of flexibility, and there's just so much opportunity out there that I think people are really utilizing social media and other platforms like Etsy to kind of sell their goods and services, and really taking advantage of the opportunity that's out there.
And they can connect with those opportunities in a way that they just hadn't been able to before. Well, what are most people doing with their second source of income?
So we actually found that the majority of people are using that money to pay for living expenses and not using it as disposable income, which is good because that means they're being responsible and not splurging. But at the same time, your primary source of income should take care of all your fixed and fun expenses if you're living within your means. The best use of that money is definitely investing in your future self, putting it in that 401k, or putting it in an emergency fund, or paying down that student loan debt.
All right, a lot of good advice. Sarah Berger, thanks so much for stopping by, Sarah.
Thank you.